In this whiteboard, we're going to consider 4 different perspectives, or if you like, lenses, for how to view a management system. This will come in very useful when trying to explain a management system or the value of a management system to your various stakeholders. The first perspective we'll look at is the sequential view of a management system. This is typically the most common way of viewing, implementing and administering a management system. When we consider the sequential view, or the most common view of a management system, we're looking at sections 1 through to 10 like we would in a table of contents in a book. The system administrator knows that above the line, sections 1 to 3 is actually 0, 0, or from sections 4 to 10 under Standard Annex is 0, 1. Now, that in its entirety is Standard Annex. So there is a temptation and really a practicality to approaching a management system by going down the list and satisfying each one of the sections one by one to achieve compliance. This, however, whilst it's a fast track for certification, there is a risk that it becomes an administrative exercise and not one that will yield value to the organisation and its stakeholders. Another perspective to a management system is known as the Deming cycle, or Plan, Do, Check, Act. Deming was known as the grandfather of total quality management in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and there have been many books written about this. As you can see here, everything starts with a plan. We do something with the plan or execute it. We check what we have done, and depending on the result, we'll act upon that, and then we'll feed that back into planning. So it becomes an iterative, endless cycle of continual improvement. If we then associate Standard Annex, or the 0-1 component of a management system, the ACT component relates to the context and the leadership. The plan component obviously relates to planning, but also the support. Operations or execute is the do. And then we want to check the performance and the improvement opportunities at the end of each cycle before we come back through the context and go through our planning cycle again. Another useful perspective for explaining a management system is the V model, or what we refer to as systems engineering, which is underpinned by ISO 15288. The systems engineering takes a requirement, a business requirement, translates it into a specification, that then flows into a design, which is then built. And that can relate to a physical entity or a management system in its own right. As you can see, Standard Annex here is split down into a V, context into leadership, leadership into the planning function, through to support, up through to operations. We evaluate the performance of operations and we seek any improvements before it coming back through the context for the next cycle. Take the V model a step further and look at it horizontally. We have some synergies that we can explore. Improvement comes back to look at the context. Did we perform what leadership thought we would do? Did operations deliver against the plan? And was support there for our operations and our management system? This model works both ways, down through the V, but also looking back across from one to the other as a test piece for effectiveness. One of the most overlooked elements of implementing or administrating a management system is the change component. Prosky is an independent company out of America who developed this cycle. It starts with awareness, I know what I need to know. Desire, I want to be a part of the management system or the change. 3, I have knowledge to be able to partake in the activities. Ability looks at resources, both human and non-human, and finally reinforcement before it then goes back and starts the loop again. So as you can see, like plan, do, check, act, and like the V model, everything is iterative and comes back to the beginning. But this model is very much based around the people perspective. If we take the Prosky ADKAR process another step further, you can see that standard Annex is delivered throughout the organisation, as we know, sections 4 through to 10, but it also aligns to the journey of change from a left to right perspective. So it doesn't matter what life cycle you choose to articulate your management system to your stakeholders, they are useful in helping people understand, because some people think logically and some people think more graphically, and these 4 models will help you influence the change in your organisation.